fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
G'day, welcome to Patriots Across the Pond, Midweek Metals from Matt Geiger, and this is one of Matt's earlier shows of the day, of the week, so he's normally quite pushed and start of a working day. So how are you, Matt?
Doing well, man. Good to see you guys. Always good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Great. So we got you about 30-40 minutes today. So let's just quickly go into the silver because unusually there's not a lot of action since we chatted last week, really. So what's going on in the metals world at the moment?
Kind of just kind of this weird, pause period, prices have kind of stabilized at around, kind of the low to mid 80s. I expect some big breakouts here. I think it's going to coincide with the news cycle, as we always talk about on the show. I mean, that's what happened when silver really shot up over the last couple of months. We noticed it really coincided with a lot of the Smalley, Minnesota investigations. I expect the stuff in California to start coming out. It already is. I mean, it's going to be trillions, tens of trillions of dollars of fraud. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I actually heard that California has. They always tout this. They love to tout this, $50 billion surplus. But it's like, okay, so you have a bank account that's got $50 billion in it that you like to tout. You're really like $2 to $4 trillion in debt. It's a nightmare out there. California is just a cesspool, and we're going to find that out. So we need to elect people like my friend Louis Herms, right? Louis.
Yes.
Louis is gaining tremendous momentum. And what's crazy is that guy Steve Hilton. He self-proclaimed that he was Trump endorsed. He's not Trump endorsed. Trump hasn't endorsed anybody. I just want to be clear about that. And we're hoping that Lewis gets that endorsement.
Oh, yeah, that would be fantastic. That would.
Steve Hilton's a liar.
Well, I saw the debate with Lewis and him on the stage, but I didn't realise he just sort of made that up. So that's good. And it was great. We heard about Minnesota, and then we've been waiting for it to move on to California. Isn't California like the fifth or sixth biggest economy in the world?
It is. I mean, for one reason, you're in the United States and you have essentially practically the entire west coast of land, so it's like, sure, if Arizona were the size of California, we would probably be the biggest, the fifth biggest economy or whatever. It's an absurd claim. I mean, these are just, and all these businesses are leaving anyway. I mean, Apple just announced that they're getting the hell out of there. Elon's already gotten out of there. It's only going to get worse in California. The people of California really need to start waking up and electing real leadership. I mean, it couldn't be more important.
Yeah. And I'll go you one better because we've also got New York right now. Of course, geographically, it's not the same as California, but it's the hub of the financial industry.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the corruption we're going to see and the money we're going to see that comes out of New York, I think they're waiting. Because I can't wait to see. But to your point about people have to start waking up about who they're voting for, I don't really think that's what they have to wake up to. I think what they have to wake up to is how these people are always placed. Like, are you aware that you've had no say over who's getting in and who's, you are allegedly voting for? You're not voting. This is all corruption that's getting these
decades.
yes, thank you, into office. So I think that's going to be the difficult pill to swallow. And I don't know if last week, I think you were on when I first had the interaction with my cousin who kind of started seeing things.
Yep.
Oh, so he's having a tough time, with all the stuff that's coming out. And of course he's seeing it here and seeing it there and seeing, and so we're doing a series. You may find it interesting to watch. It's starting tomorrow. We're red pilling Renee. His name is Renee, and he's coming on. He's going to come on.
That's awesome.
And he's going to start from scratch, if you will, even though he's like got a little bit so far that's, he's seeing. But I think it's going to be really helpful because I think part of his awakening as a total normie, to his own admission, is going to help other people. So we're hoping that people say, hey, to other people, like, why don't you tune in? Because some of these concepts that we take for granted, like we were sitting at breakfast this morning and he's like, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe some of this stuff that's happening might not just be human. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, he couldn't believe that anything he said to me. I was just like, yeah. I said, don't worry.
Good for him, good for him. We want people to, join the movement, and it's an awakening. And I think what Trump's going to be doing for the midterms, I mean, at least, I really listen to a lot of what Juan has to say on the subject, and it's going to be paper ballots, right? Paper ballots. How are you going to go against paper ballots? Right? The Democrats are going to have to take a very unpopular position because it's like, hey, we're just looking for free and fair elections. If you think you have a great candidate, you got nothing to worry about. You got nothing to worry about. If we want paper ballots nationwide, government would change overnight. You know what I mean? Literally the thing would change overnight. So hopefully that will be the case, and hopefully a guy like Lewis can have a real shot at winning, and it's not this vote rigging, which is what it's been, as we know, forever.
Yeah. I mean, I think the plan is that we're going to see so much stuff come out in the run up to the midterms that it is going to be the freest, potentially, and fairest election ever, and you are going to see the biggest landslide in human history ever. And then this will trickle around all the other countries that have been cheated as well.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, I fear, Europe. Europe is a mess, and you guys don't have a Trump. You guys might have, the guy in Poland and a couple other good worldly. I mean, you have Nigel Farage in Great Britain. He's been a pretty powerful voice, and certainly a Trump ally. But Europe's got a lot of waking up to do as well. And because your countries are much smaller, so the level of immigration relative to the population is so severe. The United States can, in a sense, handle it. But I feel like those smaller countries like Great Britain and Ireland and Scotland, whatever, I feel like it's overwhelming for you guys.
Yeah. Well, I think the European Union was a massive step to the globalist agenda and what Trump and everyone is doing. Totally. And they reversing that, they're going to put everyone back to their sovereignty and, national borders and potentially their own currencies again, not the euro. So, yeah, it's brilliant. And Trump's destroying NATO at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So jumping back to precious metals, like you said, you were, it looks like it's in a little bit of a pause, or however you want to put it, but you've been around this for so many years. I know it's different now, but so what do you think the difference is going to be in what we see? But no date fagging or anything like that. Just like, what do you see in the next, say, 2 to 4 months of what we could potentially see?
So I think the white hats are in control of these prices. I think, that drop from 117 to 107 is a sign. I do believe that this whole number stuff, this, whatever you want to call it, numerology, gematria, what have you, I think there's something to it. I've noticed over the years, when Juan said that when silver hits $33.33, that's a buy signal from the deep state. I think right now, Trump raising the silver price, of course, one is to put pressure on the shorts, right? Make these banks start feeling the pressure. Because what does that do? It makes them capitulate to what Trump's new agenda is. Yeah. Because they're losing money hand over fist. They got to do something to cover it up and have an exit strategy, right? And Trump's going to come in there with his negotiators, and they're going to say, look, either you do what I tell you to do, or your bank's going under, and hey, everybody in this country is going to be suing you for what you've done to the banking system. So I would expect silver prices to probably hang out here in these levels for a little bit. But, once they start moving up, they're going to probably start moving very rapidly. I mean, we predicted, probably $200 to $300 silver price by July. That's what a lot of people are saying. So anybody out there that's kind of sitting on the fence, what have you, once you have $200-300 silver prices, it's that's spot price. What do premiums look like at that point? Maybe the premium for a silver eagle is $75 over spot or $100 over. So really, $200-300 silver turns into $400 or $500 silver, right? And so on and so forth. And if you do hit these levels at 500 or 1,000, again, you might have $1,000 premiums on an ounce of silver, right? Who's going to part ways with the? You're going to have to incentivize somebody to part ways with that ounce of silver somehow, some way. The only language that people speak is money. So you're going to have to pay for that. We'll see what happens. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't pretend to, but I always, as I always say in shows, it's not the price that's going to be prohibitive. It's going to be your ability to get it.
Yeah. Now, I have just your own opinion, and I say this to Stu too. Like, do we think that these shorts that you say, like, Trump putting pressure on the banks, do you think that's already happened, or do you think it's still happening? Because it seems kind of out there.
It's a great question. Yeah. It's a phenomenal question, because it's like, I see it both. It's almost like the way you have to operate is you have to see it both ways, right? But I think either way you see it, what's the message? Buy some silver, come to me, go to your local dealer, whatever, just get your hands on the stuff. Get your money out of these banks. There's going to be loss. There's going to be financial loss in this thing. There's no way that, you can satisfy everybody. When Trump walks this country through a bankruptcy, which is what what I'm told is going to happen, it's not perfect. You got to satisfy creditors, but it's not going to be perfect for them. And we, the people, are some of those creditors, right? We buy the treasury bonds. I look at IRAs and 401ks. A lot of people own treasury bonds. So it's like, it's not going to be perfect for you. It's not going to be perfect for anybody. People are going to experience loss. And there has to be a message here that's sent to everybody, not just here, but around the world, that you can't let these people back in ever again. Yeah. There's a force that's going to always continue to try to weed their way in to our system, to our monetary system, to our judicial system, to our political system, our healthcare system. We have to recognize who the enemy is. And I think the only way to do that is wake people the F up. Yeah. It's the only way, right? And that's my case as to why, there is going to be a big crash and a big loss. I don't think everybody's money is mirrored in the QFS. I don't believe in this QFS, to be honest with you. It's something that I know a lot of people talk about it. I'm kind of a realist. You're inviting back in, when people talk about Nisar or Jasar, sure, I think there's some concepts to it that are real, but you're inviting in to say, help me, government, come make my life whole again. And it's like, you're back at square one. That's the whole point of this exercise, is to be like, hey, government, pardon my language, fuck you. I want you out of my life. Get the F out of here. And that's where I think people start, they cling on to this. I feel like it's almost a delusion, because we need to get rid of these forces. We need to dismantle government. We're capable of governing ourselves. You know what I mean? America's full of great people. You put those people in leadership roles, you enforce the laws, end of story. We can govern ourselves, and we can trade amongst ourselves. That's the beauty of gold and silver. Is, there might come a time where, hey, we're buying and selling amongst each other. We don't need government oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I mean, obviously, we talk about gold and silver. Precious metals is one of the best things you can get into. Obviously, people are investing in crypto as well, trying to get away from the system, and people are also withdrawing money from the banks as well because they don't think they're safe. But do you think this is a good time or not to be in the stock market or to be investing there, or should people be moving away from that, do you think?
I would get the hell out of stocks. I would get the hell out of stocks right now. And here's why is Trump had to deal with the inflation in his first term. Mm-hmm. And effectively what he did with Steve Mnuchin, right? Steve Mnuchin, everybody thinks of him as a Hollywood director and this thing. He's actually, his real skill set is actually, he's a computer programmer, right? He's actually a computer programmer. He's a very sophisticated guy. What he was effectively able to do is take all that inflation and push it into the stock market, inflating it to what levels we had now, that 48,000 or something, right? Or some absurd level in the stock market. The stock market has no business being at these levels. The stock market should reside in the maybe 8 to 12,000 range. Okay, that's realistically. But what Trump did was, rather than show inflation and everything else, cost of goods, et cetera, that's what we saw under Biden, right? So eventually they because I think Trump was in control of the Biden administration, right? I don't think that was really Joe Biden, according to Trump, from a retweet or a retruth, Joe Biden was executed for high treason in 2020. So peace out, Joe Biden, rest in hell. What Trump did was he inflated the stock market. So all those people that have done tremendously well. What I think gold and silver relate to them in the sense of is, I think it allows you to lock in those gains and take those gains with you. But if you continue to operate in this casino, because that's what it is, it's a casino. These people are going to transfer your wealth directly to somebody else. And remember, Trump never invested in the stock market throughout his life. Why? Because he knew that the stock market was rigged. He knew that if some force or some entity, some power out there wanted to take him out and take his wealth, they could easily do it in the stock market. That's how they can control people, right? And they can work conversely. They can work for Nancy Pelosi in her favor, right? So it's a two-way street. But Trump knew never to invest in the stock. That's why he went into real estate, was because he knew that real estate was something that, hey, if I bought the best properties in the world in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, right? What does our system do by just what's the natural principle of a fiat system and an interest rate based system is it's going to inflate. So your wealth's going to accrue, right? He bought Mar-a-Lago for what, $25 million?
Yeah.
Right. So in other words, what's it worth now? $1 billion, $1.5 billion? He's no dumb, and they can't take that away. Plus, real estate, you borrow, right? If you're in real estate, you can borrow off your real estate, take tax-free, you're making tax-free money. Right? Robert Kiyosaki talks about it all the time. He's like, I don't pay taxes. That's what Robert Kiyosaki says. And it's like, yeah, because these guys figured it out. They understand how to get around this. They understand the system. And the stock market is not a place you want to be. The concept of it's great, but it's been so rigged and so manipulated that I would, at least now, lock in your gains, take your money out, move to the sidelines, and watch how this thing's rebuilt.
Yeah.
That's a great point, because I think also Trump in his first term knew he had to work within the system that everybody knew. They could understand that. So he worked in a way that people were going to relate to. He worked within their even the bad guys. He worked within their system, as he always does.
Scouting unemployment rates. If your unemployment benefits run out and you're still unemployed, you're counted as employed. Right. So all these government statistics, they're complete nonsense. Right. And if those statistics are complete nonsense, you don't think the national debt is complete nonsense? The national debt's probably quadrillions of dollars. It's just, they're never going to admit it. Why would they admit it to us? Who are we? Right. We're slaves to them.
Yeah. Stu, you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was only going to say Mar-a-Lago was only valued at 18 million, wasn't it? According to a certain corrupt judge. But that just shows you how the system is fraudulent anyway.
As Juan says, I'll give you 20.
Yeah, I'd give him 25 if I had it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting story. If you ever read Art of the Deal, which I recommend everybody, I don't understand why people don't read that book. I mean, it's really interesting how he acquired a lot of these different properties, including Mar-a-Lago. He got it from the Post family, like the Post cereal.
Yeah.
And there's people that were willing to pay her more money. So I wonder what he told her. You know what I mean? And if you ever read George Magazine, the March 2000 issue, where Trump's on the cover with the Tiffany blue George, Mar-a-Lago was the winter White House for the Kennedys. President Kennedy picked his entire cabinet from Mar-a-Lago in 1960, 1961.
Well, did they during his administration? Because they built a skiff, right? There's a skiff down there, and there's it was that, I'm sure it was there. Listen, we don't know what was going on all this time and what they were using and what you go even deeper. You don't know what the lines are and the energy and all of that place, right? I'm sure there's a lot more to it than we know. Just like a lot of people didn't know about Washington, DC. And but did you watch the Super Bowl? When they announced the band, they did not call it Washington DC.
Oh, really? I don't watch football. I made it a point this season and last season to literally watch none of it.
Yeah,
I watched absolutely none of it.
Well, we watched it for the comms, obviously,
sure.
To be able to speak to a lot of things. But they put all this stuff, just very calmly. Nobody picks this stuff up. But I also see like this past week, and I don't even like to call it crypto anymore. I just call it digital assets because I feel like crypto is their word and
Right.
death. And
Right.
But
Good point.
I think, we saw XRP and XLM. I mean, I picked up some more XLM at 16 cents.
Yeah. It's taking a dip right now.
Which is great.
Buying out. Yeah. I converted some of my other stuff into XRP. So I added to mine. I think it's a great opportunity. We'll see. I'm very skeptical on the stuff, but I feel like I've got enough gold and silver under my belt where it's like, okay, I could take a risk. I mean, if I lost it, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I'd be on your show next week.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, this is great. Any other things you want to add? Any other little points that you think are important for the coming week or for people to think about, when it comes to all this?
I mean, not really. We're just kind of in this sort of strange holding period right now. I would just tell people, like, if you are doing an IRA, it's going to take us a couple weeks to complete your IRA, probably 2 to 3 weeks. So if it's something you're considering, realize you're buying your gold or your silver 2 to 3 weeks from now. So it's not like, something happens and now you have the ability to do it. I would just tell people, if it's something you've been thinking about doing, give me a call. I can give you all the specs about how it works, how to hold the stuff, right? What the costs are associated with are very nominal. We don't charge any fees. You pay some custodial fees and some storage fees and whatnot, but they're very reasonable. But I would just tell people, like, get that into place now. Even if you got, let's say you have an IRA, you got $500,000, maybe open up that account with 50 or 100,000. And now you have the account set up so that, when the events do start to happen, you can very quickly liquidate and move those funds over to that IRA, right? Yeah. And you kind of have a safety valve for, what you might end up doing for that entire IRA, right? Maybe you start piecing it in, and maybe through that process, you're also cost averaging, right? So right now you're probably buying a Silver Eagle for, I don't know, right around $100, maybe slightly less. And, maybe in a month from now, you start seeing the rise in silver. Okay, well, your cost now silver's 150. Okay, well, your cost averaging that next purchase into $100. So really net, your cost might be 125. Right. Or something like that. So I would tell people, like, don't be afraid to just give me a call, pull the trigger. I'm happy to talk to people. It's like, there's no pressure from me. I'm not putting a gun to anybody's head. I have no axe to grind. Make an introduction. Let's get on each other's radar. And, whenever somebody's ready to move, we'll move. Believe me, we're inundated with business. So I'm not begging anybody. They can do it at their own pace.
Yeah, so that's an excellent point. I'm sorry, Stu, but I didn't even think of that until you said that. If you have an IRA, you don't have to do the whole thing. Like, you don't have to do the whole amount, right? You can do partial, which is a toe in the water if anybody's thinking it's all or nothing. People still get afraid about making changes. That's an excellent idea.
It's like setting up a Bitcoin or XRP address, isn't it, on a hardware wallet? So it's all ready to go, basically.
Yeah.
Now, when people do an IRA with you, do they lock the prices in of gold and silver at that time, or is there options to float and see what it is nearer?
I mean, I've had some people say, "Hey, can we wait out the day to see what happens?" I mean, you can do that look, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with it, right? I don't, I'll set it up for you and we can buy it whenever you want. But it's like I said before, it's like whether you buy it, 82 or 92 or 77 or 105, realistically, at the end of the day, it's where you end up. If we really do have $450 to $500 silver by the end of this year, which is, I think, very likely. Yeah. What are these little price spread differences? Plus, you also got to remember is there's a little bit of wait times. So at the end of the day, I write right now for Silver Eagles, which is predominantly what I like to see people buy. And I want to be clear, and I tell people this when they call me, is I have no financial incentive to sell people Silver Eagles. I have no backdoor deal with the U.S. Mint. I wish I had a backdoor deal with the U.S. Mint. That would be freaking awesome, but I don't. If you want to go and you want to buy rounds are going to probably be your cheapest form of silver. I make the same commission no matter what. And it's a very small commission. People, as I like to tell people, is like, when it comes to these commissions and these gold companies out there, especially these companies out of Los Angeles, these guys are criminals. Okay. These guys are criminals. the way I charge commissions, let's say the cash price of a Silver Eagle is 93. For an IRA, I'll charge you 95. You don't even feel me. You don't even know that I'm there. And that's why all my clients over the last couple of years since we've been in business, everybody's up. Everybody's accounts are double, triple, maybe not quite quadruple, but they're double and tripling. Whereas I see they work with these other jokers out of Los Angeles, and they're just getting into the green now. Literally, they were paying, back in 2021 and 2022, they were paying $80, $90, $120 for silver. They're just getting back. And so they missed that whole uptick. That could have been to their benefit. What these upticks have really been is paying back commissions to some guy that wants to be, a gold broker by day and Axl Rose by night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And so I want to be there for the Patriots. These are my people. They've taken care of me. I'm going to take care of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's great in this community that everyone's banded together with all sorts of different products and stuff, all, American made, me being in the UK. But yeah, it's brilliant to see everyone helping each other out.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway,
obviously you didn't watch the football, but have you been watching the debacles of the halftime shows?
I don't watch any of it, Sue. I don't care.
Well, yeah. I tell you, it was... If you do get to see it, that normal halftime show was so strange. The swearing, it was all sung in Spanish. It was the most angry,
the most disgusting words you ever heard.
Like, I did see that because some of the news shows that I watch, and even those, I haven't really even had the time. Even I did see some of that. The lyrics to that guy, whatever his name is,
Bad Bunny. Yeah. That's funny, that isn't it?
I heard that it was a good thing it was in Spanish because if it were in English, it would just be an abomination. People just try to. Yeah, it's disgusting. I want nothing to do with it. I'm living in the new paradigm. I'm already there. Yeah. Everybody can come join me. I go do fun stuff. I don't even think about this bullshit. I'm living, guys. I'm living my best life.
Yeah.
Well, I just think for the normies, like I don't go on Facebook, but I happen to be on there and people are like, oh, it's just so full of love and it was just so wonderful. And I was like, yes, and it was really wholesome too, because here's the translation. Okay, and I don't even want to say it was just base and disgusting. It wasn't just cursing. Okay, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And, don't wake up. So I think still some of us need to get into that world occasionally to be able to pull things out and say, read this. And then there was very cricket. Yeah. Like it was a lot of crickets then because these people don't know what they're talking about.
I just find it very, very interesting for the fact that we've heard so much about the nefariousness of TPUSA since Charlie Kirk got shot and everyone was digging into that stuff. And the TPUSA alternative halftime show was rock and roll, country and western, patriotic, amazing. Everyone was turning over from that crap on the normal thing. Yeah. People were getting moaning in bars and getting kicked out, and it was it was amazing, really. And I think the 4 Psychological Operations Group have got their hands all behind that somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I don't think this is just I think this is another takedown because now what are they doing? They're going after the NFL. They're going after all of these people for breaking FCC rules, and I mean, it's just so beautifully orchestrated as far as I'm concerned. The way they take down these big conglomerates.
And don't forget something. Didn't Trump back in the late 80s, or might have been the early 90s? Didn't he create a football league to take on the NFL? And he signed Herschel Walker to some big contract. So Herschel Walker came over. Herschel Walker was like the man. He's like one of the absolute all-time greats. And, you remember he ran in Georgia a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And he won that election, right? But of course, right, we know the story. He signed that, and he actually took the NFL to court over antitrust laws, and Trump won. Trump won that case. So he's got a legal precedent to break up the NFL and create competing leagues. And I think, if this thing's one big plan and it's been going on for a long time, there's a breadcrumb in time.
Yeah.
Good call. I didn't even remember that. They're just as patient as the bad guys.
The NFL is a disgusting, sick organization. That guy, Roger Goodell, has deep state written all over his forehead. I want nothing to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I think I honestly I love baseball. I go to a lot of Cardinals games. I was at the World Series, or not the Cardinals, but the Diamondbacks. I went to the NLCS, the National League Championship, a couple years ago, and the World Series. And now I'm so done with these leagues. These guys are involved in some very sick and sinister stuff,
Yeah.
and I just want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it.
It's money laundering and child trafficking behind the scenes, isn't it? A lot of it.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard.
Sad. But, you know, a lot of people seeing with these 3 million Epstein files coming out, people are digging into every single day, and there is so much information coming out. I know a lot of it's redacted, but I just believe this is the first public phase of the real stuff, and people are going to see a lot more, and buckle up for that, because you ain't seen nothing yet.
You know what I love? I love Patriot get-togethers, like what we're doing in April.
Yeah.
These things are so much. And then we got another event in Texas in March. I don't know. You guys going to be there at the something? I don't even know the name of it.
No, I think is that the one? Is Jordan Clark going to be at that one?
I think so. I work with Jordan. You know, Jordan has me on his
I
crypto
know.
channel.
We love Jordan. He's
just
amazing. He was
a great
on our
guy
show last week. Yeah.
And his audience is amazing.
Yes, I don't think I can't be at that one in March just because of logistics and stuff like that. But yes,
I love these get-togethers. You know, it's we're gonna have Patriot Underground there, who I work with. We're gonna have Stormy Joe, Abs, right there. Everybody's gonna be there, so it's gonna be. And I've never actually met these guys in person. Dave from News Treason, who I also work with. I haven't met these guys in person, but it's like Dave and I, like we and Mark for that matter. We're all New Yorkers, so we. Like when we first met, we're like, oh, okay, I know who you are. You know, it's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. And you're doing
so much. Like we're everyone now.
What's that?
I said, I feel like I'm everyone now sitting over here.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting when I went to London, I stayed in London for about 5 months, and it had very similar architecture to New York City.
Yeah.
It was very similar. The buildings on the park had kind of the same I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a very similar city, and it obviously makes sense why, right? That's where we all came from, as we came over the pond and took over this land. But what's interesting, what I love to talk about is like the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims were the real founders of this country. You know, in the 1600s. That's going to be interesting information that comes out about the Pilgrims.
Yeah.
Exciting.
There's so much history that's been hidden, right?
I know. I'm excited to learn it.
Yeah. And you know, I will say to you, Stu, today when I was with Renee, he was saying, because he's very cerebral, he's a smart man, very smart, very successful, just wasn't awake. And he said, the thing I want you guys to take me through, because that's how I think. I want to know history. I feel like I don't know history. You know, he's like all the way back. I was like, well, let's just start with this country. You know, we'll start with this country. Right. We got enough going on in the last, 300 years, and then we can go further back. But that really is the key. And that's what they've cut off. You know, who knew about the Organic Act, right? Of 1871. I didn't know about it. We learned all this, and that's what people and kids and, so it's really changing this whole paradigm, which to me is really exciting.
Well, JFK Jr. and his George magazine, they came out with these 2 books. And one of the books, it's not the 250 Ways to Make America Better or Great Again, right? Kind of similar. That was funny. It's the other book. I forget the title of it, but he actually goes into some history lessons, some real history about some presidents and their families. It's a very interesting book. You can find it on Amazon or eBay. Just type in like George. It's the George So George magazine came out with 2 books, like actual, binded books. And there's one that's 250 Ways to Make America Better, and then the other one is something about our history. But that's the book where the phrase, the Clinton body count, that's where the Clinton body count phrase is coined, is in that book. And they're actually, you can find them cheap, but I've seen them go for a lot of money. Those books. Yeah, I would pick one up. You can find them on like Amazon or eBay. If anybody wants some help finding one, I can probably
Holy shit. I did a quick search on Amazon. Do you know how much the paperback is?
How much?
$399.99.
Yeah. You could get it cheaper than that. What's interesting is I've noticed that the George magazine prices, like Survival Guide to the Future. I bought my first copies for $20 and for $30. And that magazine, to get it in the good condition, you're probably paying at least $1,500 to $2,000. So I've seen the prices go up with the Awakening.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, tomorrow's show is going to be amazing because we have seen Rambo and that doing Red Pilling Mickey Coachella over these last few months and stuff. And I was talking to Elisa about that, and then her cousin sent her that message last week or something, and we had a chat with him a few days ago to discuss this, whether we wanted to come on, and he was absolutely, and he's a lawyer, isn't he? He's very well off. He's got family man and stuff, and he was physically shaken, and he is right at the start of his learning because he dipped his toes into the Epstein files and this red pill hypnosis steam train. So we're going to guide him through, go back to the start. First show tomorrow, and we're going to go in all sorts of different directions, playing some videos and clips and all sorts of things. So it's going to be amazing to watch this unfold.
Oh, and by the way, we've learned that Trump is in the files. He is in the Epstein files. He called the police on Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah,
he did a lot of things.
And he did a lot of things. Yeah, it's and what the liberals are saying is, oh, he's in the files. It's like, yeah, but he was calling the police on these people, guys. They leave that conveniently out. So yeah, this is going to be a losing battle. And once these people realize what they've been supporting, hopefully they'll turn around and wake up. But I don't know.
Another sting operation. Well played.
Makes that even more beautiful, doesn't it? When Elon said the reason the files haven't been released is because Trump's in them. Yep. The left went mad. We need them. All the media, we need them. All of a sudden, Trump and Elon are best friends again 2 days later. And it's beautiful 5D chess.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the time. We want to be respectful. It's exactly 40 minutes, just about, maybe a little less. And we'll see what happens in the next week, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it should be an interesting, next couple weeks, next couple months. So, if anybody has any questions about obviously precious metals, give me a call, and don't hesitate to go to a local dealer too. Those guys, support your local guys. But if you want to support the show and, obviously, support the community, give us a call.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And you can always find Matt on our website too, patriotsacrossthepond.com. All the information, if you don't get, if you're watching and you miss this, you could go there as well. Anyway, Matt, enjoy the weather. We're having a heat wave. It's like 41 degrees here today. So getting ready to get the
We've had like 80s. We've had 80s lately.
I hate you.
Yeah, I hate you too.
All right. Take care. Say hi to Scott.
I will, guys. Thanks so much for having me, and I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Cheers, Matt. Take care.
Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of the day. See you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, it's, I always look forward to our Wednesday show because it's always like the quick fire round.
Yeah.
Whereas, Matt, it's, it's 9 o'clock in the morning where he comes on. So his day's just starting. His phone's on fire. Ding, 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 ding. And so we're very appreciative that he comes on, and it's great.
Yeah.
So, there's no point really discussing more stuff, is there? Is there anything you want to talk about? Because I've got a list of bits and pieces here, but
I'll give you some
on tomorrow, and it is going to be an amazing show.
I'll give you some insight, some behind the scenes on because every couple of weeks, me and George get together for coffee, in the morning before Renee goes to work, and because he lives like a few blocks away from where I live, ironically, and we get together, and usually we're talking about so many other things. But he came in, I gave him a huge hug because I haven't seen him in person since last week. I was like, "We got you." And he was just spewing, because I told you he's a researcher. So when I said don't do anything until, he wasn't going to listen. So he was talking about ley lines and aliens and asking me if I knew. Did I know? What was the thing he said? Did I know? Did I know that there's these about CERN? And I was like, yeah. He's like, Like he could, like everything he said, like I knew. He goes,
has he, right, if he has he, I bet he hasn't seen the opening ceremony though, has he? All dressing around as goats and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know, because I didn't want to give him like grist for the mill for him to go and look at. And then
I know.
and then he was saying to me, what was the other thing that he said? Well, I will tell you, because I'm saying this as a setup for tomorrow, right? I don't think he's going to watch this show today. But he was saying, because he sent me an article last night, or video about somebody in South America who just got they just got arrested, for trafficking through their plane and everything. And he was like, I don't understand. Do you know what RICO is? And I was like, yeah. He's like, why aren't they just arresting all these people and going in? And I had to say it because I was like, listen to me. You know how big this system is? Do you know how long this has been going on? You can't just arrest people. Well, I think the normies, and I'm sort of like, I'm a normie, but I'm like a normie whose eyes are opening. He's like, we want to see that. I said, yes. I said, but
we all want to see that, Renee.
I said, however, infiltration is the key. Because he said, why did he have is Netanyahu a good guy or a bad guy? I was like, well, it's debatable, but he's probably a bad guy, but we'll see. He goes, why did he have him at the White House? And I was like, did you read the Art of War by Sun Tzu? I read it a long time ago. I was like, well, read it again. He's like, so like keep your enemies closer. I said, yes. So it was fun. It was fun. But then we called you from there to say hi. And, he was saying all the things he was spouting off. It was literally 10 minutes that, so he said to me, Elisa, what I want you to do is I want to learn. Like, I want you guys to educate, because that's where I'm most comfortable, where I could do research and I could read and I said, we're going to give you homework. We're going to talk. We will bear that in mind, as far as like how to appropriately red pill you for you. And you want to know something, Stu? I would tend to say, since we've all sort of realized that a lot of these normies, many of them are highly educated.
Yes, yeah, but that's the thing. That's the reason why they've been so indoctrinated.
Yes,
because
so we need to
education.
We need to deprogram them and reprogram using the method they're most comfortable with, which is research, books, and like information. Like that's why people that aren't so educated, they go with their gut more. They go with what feels right. People that are highly educated are used to this way of indoctrination. So I think for anybody out there who's working with very highly educated people, we're going to try to show you, with our situation that we're doing here, the best ways to fulfill the way they're used to acquiring information, so they can process it in the way they're used to and trained.
So basically, unlearn everything you've learned, start again. So everyone, keep an eye out for this thumbnail. I might change the picture, but red pilling Renee tomorrow. Down the rabbit hole we go. That's our new screenshot for that show. I will show. And if anyone didn't watch our interview yesterday with Marianne T, it hasn't got as many views on it because we didn't go live, because she was a survivor of incest, rape, and trafficking.
Satanic. Yeah, SRA.
And, it was a fair play to her for coming on. It's a hard listen again, like listening to Laura Worley, and these people are inspirational to this movement and they're coming on. And this human trafficking, family trafficking, and satanic abuse is so prevalent that I don't know how they're going to eradicate it all, but I do think it's going to be biblical in some way eventually when this all goes down. There's a lot of sealed indictments out there which we will be showing to Renee tomorrow, no doubt. But if people haven't watched that interview, go back and watch it. So I'm going to obviously this is live, so this will upload, and then I'll load it to my Stu's News channel, and then I'll be uploading the Red Pill Renee live stuff for tomorrow on our various channels. But yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. So I think based on our interview yesterday with Marianne, she's actually going to put us in touch with some other people. See, one of the goals we have, obviously build awareness, right? Because you can't do anything about a problem if you don't know. And a lot of people don't know. But also, what do you do once you know? What are the signs of people who are stuck in this cult? What are the ways that you need to help them? Who are the people you need? You can't just go to a regular therapist. They don't understand this. They don't understand dissociative disorder. So that's one of the things we want to keep bringing. So hopefully with the books and the authors and the people that Marianne is introducing us to, we could bring more of that on, because truly, if a lot of this is going on right under our noses in our own neighborhoods, we should start to become aware about what are the signs and how do we help these people, because they're controlled. Not everything is based on the CIA, taking people to these places. It's happening in homes. So it's very disheartening, very, very hard to listen to, but we need to be the soldiers and help these people and eradicate this.
Exactly. Well, it was beautiful to actually see her. She's in a very lovely family now. She's got children. She's got a lovely husband. But she was also saying that, even my husband doesn't, whether it's believe her or understand her about certain aspects, where she was talking about the switching and things like that. And it's, if that's the case, there's obviously a lot of people out there that are not going to fathom what's going on at all,
Yeah.
So it's a delicate subject, but everyone here, everyone in the chat, we talk about this all the time. We get it out and we spread the information as much as we can, because the more we spread this information, we more to wake people up, the more or the faster we're going to stop all this shit from going on, because public awareness across the board is key. When everyone's looking out for this sort of shit and not just, I'm all right in my bubble, fuck everyone else. Right?
Yeah.
It's going to end.
Well said. And English Hawk just said these women and girls must be listened to. But you know what? I got news for you. There's a lot of boys.
Yeah.
A lot of young boys. This doesn't just this isn't a gender issue. This is an evil satanic issue that affects everyone. So we need to remember it's just people and children.
Exactly that. Right. Okay. We'll leave it there, everyone. And if you've got an IRA or you want to invest in gold and you're in the States, Matt Geiger's your man. He's not only a gold and silver dealer, he's also got a massive tinfoil hat, and he's one of us. And we love having him on. When I first met Matt online and we had a discussion, I couldn't have wished. We see all these sorts of people advertising gold and stuff and constantly putting adverts out. We wanted something short and sweet and basically a geezer that knew what he was talking about. And Matt is the man, and he will help you out if you need anything. Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Right. I'm going to, we'll finish here, and we'll see you tomorrow at 3:30 UK time, 10:30 Eastern, and little play out with Matt's IRA video. Love you all, everyone. People.
Love you.
You take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Your financial advisor isn't going to tell you this. Your bank won't mention it. And your 401k custodian, they're hoping you never find out. You can convert your retirement account into physical gold and silver. Real metal in your hands or stored exactly where you decide. It's called a gold IRA rollover, and it's 100% legal, 100% IRS approved. And your financial quote experts, they don't get a commission when you take control like this. Wall Street wants your money in their system, in their accounts where they control it. But physical gold, that's yours. Can't be hacked, can't be deleted, can't vanish when the market crashes. Verity Metals, we're the experts. They don't want you to call. Convert your IRA or 401k into gold and silver that you can actually hold. Call 1-888-318-7598 and quote Patriots Across the Pond.